Chapter 1, Lesson 3 on the properties of numbers. All right, so the first property we're going to look at is called the additive identity property. And the additive identity property says that the sum of any number and 0 is equal to the number. So if I take any number A and I add 0 to it, I'm always going to get A. So if I take -7 and add 0 to it, I get -7. The additive inverse says that a number and its opposite are additive inverses. So they are additive inverses, and their sum is 0. So if I have A and I add the opposite of A, I'm going to get 0. So additive inverses are like 5 and -5, 1/2 and -1/2. Okay, the multiplicative identity says that any number times 1 is equal to that number. So if I have any number A and I multiply it by 1, I'm going to be left with A. A few more properties. The multiplicative property of 0 says any number times 0 equals 0. So any number A times 0 always equals 0. Okay, the multiplicative inverse is basically the reciprocal. And when I take the reciprocal, any number multiplied by its multiplicative inverse equals 1. So if I have A and I multiply it by 1 over A, that always equals 1. Okay, the commutative property says that the order can change in addition and multiplication. So the commutative property says that A plus B equals B plus A, and it also says that A times B equals B times A. All right, the associative property says that we can change the grouping of numbers in addition and multiplication. So the grouping, so parentheses, so if I have A plus B and then I add C, that's the same as if I change my parentheses to go around the B and the C. So if I say A plus and then B plus C. So I can change how they're grouped, but the order stays the same. So same thing for multiplication. A times B times C. If I group the A and B, that's the same as A times B times C if I group the B and C. And then the substitution property. This one seems a little silly, but the substitution property just says that a quantity may be substituted for its equal in any expression. So that could be something as simple as 4 plus 5 and rewriting it as 9. I'm substituting something that's equal to it. Or if I say A equals 6, and then I say A plus 8, and I write in 6 plus 8. And 14, this is substitution, and this is substitution. So let's look at an example of how we can we can justify some simplification based on our properties. So if I'm going to do this expression here, I'm going to simplify it. First thing I'm going to do is look at my parentheses based on order of operations, and I'm going to do that division. So I'm going to say 7 times 1/7 plus 6 times 5 minus 5. And my substitution property is the one who allows me to do that. And then I'm going to do my parentheses, so I'm going to do 5 minus 5. So 7 times 1/7 plus 6 times, and I'm going to substitute 0. Again, that's substitution. Seems silly. And then I'm going to do my multiplication left to right. So I'm going to do 7 times 1/7. So because these are multiplicative inverses, then that's going to give me 1 plus 6 times 0. So that was my multiplicative inverse. And then I'm going to do my multiplication. And because of my multiplicative property of 0 tells me that that's 0. And then because of my additive identity tells me that 1 plus 0 is 1.